We go. Welcome, everyone. You know, as a kid, I grew up watching television. I don't anymore, but they would always have those signs on either side of the stage that said clap or applaud. Do you remember that? Maybe I'm too old, but I feel like every time I go, here we go, everybody goes, yay! So we have some wonderful musicians on stage today, and they're going to lead us in some music. So if you're able, I'm going to invite you to stand up, and we'll sing into the service.
And this is a new one. All right, Leo, take it away. Everybody get up on your feet, see the light in everybody you meet. Everybody get up on your feet, see the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Everybody get up on your feet, see the light in everybody you meet. Everybody get up on your feet, see the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a holy sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a holy sound. Hey, 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 hey. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, 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 yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a holy sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, 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 hey. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. All right. Take a minute and say hello to someone you haven't met yet. Way to change the harmony. They seem to like it. We'll have to do it again next time we sing together. That's when I think, do I stop it and try to start again?
That's the thing. I was like, why is it in a different key?
Okay, we should probably get going. Let's do it. Yeah. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. 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 And if we have any children here this morning who'd love to go outside and have a great experience out in the great outdoors with a wonderful teacher or two, come on up. Okay. Hooray for the world, I'm glad to be on it. Hooray for the world, I'm glad to be on it. Hooray for the world, it's a special place. We've got Mother Nature and the human race. The world's got trees and bumblebees, rivers and lakes and the open seas, mountains and valleys and animals too, and the sun that shines on me and you. Hooray for the world, I'm glad to be on it. Hooray for the world, I'm glad to be on it. Hooray for the world, it's a special place. We've got Mother Nature and the human race. We've got Mother Nature and the human race.
Good morning, everyone. I am Andrea Wood, and I am the practitioner this morning. And I wanted to remind everyone that the practitioners, our purpose here at CSL Bellingham is to pray with you. And we have a prayer vessel in the back right where you can write a prayer and leave it in there. And we also have a website where you can send in a prayer request that way, and we'll send you a prayer back or give you a call, whichever one you want. So please use us if you would like to have prayer. And I invite you to join me in prayer right now. Know with me as I know that there is one presence, one power that flows through all things, like a deep river of peace, of joy. This divine intelligence imbues all things with many gifts, gifts of love, gifts of radiant life. And as we walk this spiritual path together as a community, this spirit is uplifting and supporting, although we may walk to the edge and not know the next step. Spirit is there. And I affirm that we walk the path of trust, knowing that we are deeply held and loved. And I'm so thankful for this spiritual truth. I'm thankful for this spiritual community. Thank you, Spirit. And I release my word to Spirit that always says yes, and so it is.
And so it is. Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Let go of the shore, float into the mystery. Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Let go of the shore, float into the mystery. You have all you need, it's all inside of you. Just close your eyes and breathe and know that you are safe. Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Let go of the shore, float into the mystery. Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Let go of the shore, float into the mystery. No need to make a plan, your heart will be your compass. Just lift your sails in faith and trust that you will arrive. Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Let go of the shore, float into the mystery. One, two, three, four. Everything I need to know about what lies before me. Everything I need to know about what lies before me is available to me, is available to me through the mind of God within me. Everything I need to do about what lies before me, everything I need to do about what lies before me is available to me, is available to me through the mind of God within me. Everything I need to accept about what lies before me, everything I need to accept about what lies before me is available to me, is available to me through the mind of God within me. Everything I need to release about what lies before me, everything I need to release
So fun. Thank you. I'm so glad you ended with that one because when it was like, let go of the shore, I'm starting to cry because I'm letting go of the shore. I just like, oh, don't sing that again, okay? Not for a while. Oh. And if you're new, I'm retiring at the end of this year, and with some reluctance, unfortunately. When Spirit tells you to do something, though, I've been teaching for years, you better listen, right? So today, we're in a series of talks based on the theme, the possibilities and the challenges, which is part of the larger yearly theme, living beautifully. And so today's talk is called Surf the Gap. And it's really actually a very important topic. But I was trying to figure out how to talk about it. So I have a couple of stories that I think will help. Because I think the point here is in surfing, there is something known in surf terms called the gap. And it's the distance between one wave and another. And the bigger the distance, the more powerfully the next wave is going to carry you. And so hold that in mind, because really I'm talking about how we work with our lives and attain the most power so that we can move forward with clarity. So I think the best way is to actually start you with a story. Would you like to hear it? Yeah. Shocker there. So, so one of my favorite men in the whole world in the spiritual circles is a man named Wayne Muller, and he's written a number of books. He's a Christian minister, but very, very, very liberal in terms of his belief systems. And he runs an organization called Bread for the Journey, helping indigenous cultures, small communities, nonprofits that are doing good work in the world who maybe are not large enough to attract big donors. His organization is there for the smaller situations, raising money and helping. So he wrote a book called Sabbath. And so I'll just read you this story. It's a great story. It's one I refer to often in my mind. So since he doesn't live in Santa Fe anymore, but when he wrote this, when we lived in Santa Fe, in the yard behind our home, there was a rich diversity of life forms that shared a small plot of high desert soil. There was a patch of grass ringed by a few fruit trees, hollyhocks, lilies, daffodils, irises, and poppies, each coming up in their own time and place. There was tarragon and cilantro, rosemary and sage. There was lilac and aspen and golden locust. I planted each one. New things each year, depending on which color or fragrance seemed to call out for balance. Then there were the tulips. I recall my astonishment as a novice gardener. I first learned the miracle of perennials. Imagine putting a bulb in the ground one year and having the flowers come back faithfully year after year without ever having to plant them again. It instantly deepened my respect and admiration for the immeasurable cleverness of the Creator. Armed with this revelation, I pored through bulb catalogs, I'm sure none of you can relate, and ordered a colorful mixture that I planted in the fall around the bird bath and in a small patch in front of the house. All winter, I waited and waited. Sure enough, in April, a beautiful pattern of green pointed leaves peeked out through the cold ground. 2 days later, they were all gone. They had been eaten down to the stubs, each and every one. I was crushed. The next 2 years, the same thing happened. Wayne can be a slow learner. The bulbs would manage to push up about an inch, and then they would disappear. I had discovered a critical factor in the growth and cultivation of perennials that was not mentioned in the Smith and Hawkins catalog: jackrabbits. Jackrabbits abound in the Southwest, and for the first 3 years, I accepted their eating the tulips as my gift to them. All beings were getting some benefit from my garden, I told myself. Then I decided to build a fence. The people at the local nursery told me that a small 10-inch high fence around the tulips would be enough to discourage the jackrabbits. Even though they could easily jump over if they tried, it would be enough to deter their curiosity, and they would simply eat the abundant grasses instead. Sometimes it's necessary to stop one thing before another thing can begin. First point here. We live in a society of too muchness. I mean, inundated with information, with different sounds on our phones. I was reminded of this recently when I was traveling this last couple of days, and everywhere I went, no matter where I went, no matter what was called for, people had their phones in their hands. Even when the stewardess was saying, "Could you please turn your phone to airplane mode?" Did they? I'll never know. It sure didn't look like they did right at first. Hopefully, before we actually hit the skies, they had reminded themselves that we could all die if they didn't. I don't know. But in every regard, our society has become more and more layered, more and more full of different things. You go to the grocery store to buy shampoo and conditioner. In Fred Meyer, there's an entire aisle, one whole long aisle. And I don't know if you should go see that. It's astounding. It's like, I just want something simple like shampoo and conditioner. I don't need to know what it has in it exactly. I don't need to know that it's for this kind of hair and that kind. I just need some shampoo. Too muchness. And it's like that pretty much everywhere now. And so surfing the gap for spiritual beings like us is the opportunity to really pay attention in the place between one thing and another, to use Wayne's example, to actually build a small fence. Now, sometimes we can experience fences as a restriction, but in this example, fences are protection. Just like the tulips, which were allowed to come up, he says later in the story, in all of their glorious riot of colors because the fence was there. You and I have the opportunity to really move with a sense of protecting our harmony, our peace, our calmness, our sense of beingness, by really making some really conscious choices about how much is too much and what we should do instead. And there's good examples of what happens when we actually begin to pay attention to this and we begin to make sure that we have made enough room for the beingness that we are to show up. One of them comes from permaculture. And I think the most striking story I've heard was I was acquainted with some nuns, and they had a convent in a lot of times convents are way out in the country, so they had a convent out in the country, and their thing that they did is they raised cattle for milk and cheese and all that, and that's how they supported the convent, was they took care of the cows and did the milking and did all that stuff, made cheese. And they were needing to supplement the cows with corn because when they let them out to graze, the land was just not rich enough in nutrients to support the cattle in the way that they needed to be supported. Well, one of the nuns, I think her name was Sister Gilchrist, I think it was. Sister Gilchrist became interested in permaculture. And she went to a workshop all about it, and she was kind of in charge of the cooking aspect as well as nurturing other parts of the convent. And so she, every spring, would go out into the fields and she would gather the wild herbs that were growing in the fields to spice up. I don't know if you've ever had convent food, to spice up the convent food. It's pretty simple. And so she thought, oh, this is great. I'm going to try this. So they recommended, the permaculture folks heard all about her convent and how they were running it. And they suggested that instead of letting the cattle just out into the fields to roam around, that they pen them in a little bit. And that they have, I'm sure you've heard this, right? That, you pen in the chickens or the pigs or the cows, and they graze deeply in one section of your land. And then once that's all been nibbled down to the nubs, you move them and pen them into a different area. And so the nuns decided they would take that on, and so they were moving the cattle after each plot of their fields was fully munched down. And Sister Gilchrist, the next spring, went out, as she always did, at a certain time of year to pick all the wild herbs. And there were dozens and dozens of other herbs and flowers that had come up on that land because it had been thoroughly worked and fertilized. And so she had not only the herbs that she was accustomed to using, but now she had this huge variety that she could use for medicinal purposes and in her culinary efforts. And it was really, hearing that, was really another part. So there's the importance of creating space so that the overwhelm of our world doesn't necessarily overwhelm anymore. And then there's this message from Sister Gilchrist in permaculture that says, and in that focused attention to creating space, what's actually happening for you and me if we do this in our lives is we're allowing ourselves to be nurtured in a different way so that new things can arise and we can actually begin to have a different blossoming experience than we've been having if we haven't allowed ourselves to have boundaries around what gets to us and when. So, there's an old story, maybe you've heard it, and it's about the warrior and the pearl. And in this culture that the story comes from, if you were an advanced warrior, you wore a pearl. And it was like a status symbol, basically. And it was also, they believed, was sort of imbued with magical powers. And so you wore your pearl. When you went into battle, when you were wandering around, you wore your pearl. And so this one warrior could not find his pearl. And he looked everywhere. And he was distraught because, the battle was coming. He didn't have his pearl. Bad things could happen, until one day one of his fellow warriors looked at him and said, "What are you doing?" "I'm looking for my pearl." And in the parlance of the day, the guy said, "Dude, it's on your head. It's right here on his forehead." He shoved it up and left it there, and he didn't remember. I don't know if any of you can relate. Think reading glasses or something, So what a relief for the warrior. But the story is meant to not only be about the pearl and the warrior, it's meant to be about what are we carrying that is so precious that we maybe have lost sight of. And I know for me, I can't speak for you. I don't know what your life's like. But it's very easy to lose track of the preciousness of my daily living if I am not clear about my boundaries. If I allow all the different notifications, which I've turned off, to ding, 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 bing, bang, boom. If I allow the the text messages and the WhatsApps and the Facebooks and the Instagrams and the TikToks to take over, right? And this is not pejorative of any of those things. They're wonderful. It's just that they're also designed to hook us and keep us going. And as spiritual people, there's an interesting thing that you and I know all about, which is that thing that I think it was Viktor Frankl said, that famous psychiatrist, psychologist guy. He said, you know, between stimulus and response, there's a gap. And in the gap is where all things are determined. But for most of us, if we're not careful, the gap is extremely small between the stimulus and the response. Think of the last time you had a knee-jerk reaction to something that someone said. It didn't take more than a second to go with that. And so widening the gap, watching for a longer period of time in our response time, allows us to access the preciousness of our being, the intention that we came here to be love, to be peace, to be joy, whatever yours is. If we're reacting, there's no room for that to arise and inform us. And so a large part of the spiritual path for most of us, whatever your path is if we pay attention, you'll see that in every single tradition, there is a training happening. And it's training us in the gap. It's actually training us to slow down and be present. Think of prayer. You can't do prayer when you're thinking about anything else. Think of meditation. Well, you can think about a lot of things in meditation, but the goal is eventually to stop the discursive thought long enough to have space happen. Think of Tai Chi, a flow of energy. And when we get distracted in yoga or Tai Chi or any of the movement meditations, we tip over, we fall down, we do all kinds of silly things because we lost the gap. So in other words, for you and for me, there is a training available all the time that is incredibly valuable. What it allows is for us to open to the possibilities that actually exist, just like Sister Gilchrist's field full of newness. For you and for me, there's a vast field of possibility, probable realities that already exist in the infinity of the divine energy. But if we're going too fast, or if we're operating on automatic pilot all the time, we never see them because we're not there. It's there, but we're not. And so I guess I want to ask you, and I don't want you to answer right now, but in your own mind, how are you doing with that? And what are you doing about that? And maybe you didn't know that that was even possible, to actually kind of create a space deliberately so that the possibilities between stimulus and response become available. Someone was yelling at me the other day. It's a very rare experience these days, I'm grateful to say, but it was shocking because I don't get yelled at very much. And as I was being yelled at, I've trained enough in the gap that I stepped into that place that I've been training myself to find in meditation. I'm there for a couple seconds and then blip, I'm off thinking about coffee. I'm there for some, but it's there and I know it's there and I can get myself there. So as I'm being yelled at, I was in the gap. And I was able in the gap to notice how the adrenaline was rushing through my body and my heart was pounding and my nose was turning red. Such a calamity to be Irish sometimes. And, and I also was noticing that I was choosing how to respond, not just reacting. And so I didn't say anything. For probably to the other person felt like a long, long time, because I really was very deliberately thinking to myself, how do I want to respond to this? What do I want to say? And how can I say it in a way that's skillful? That didn't happen overnight. I've been on the spiritual path since I was 18. I've been meditating regularly for 27 years. It takes practice and training. It's not that it can't happen along the way, but the longer that I focused on the gap and really taking my time, the more I realized how incredibly valuable it was in situations of conflict, in situations where, here's one for you. I don't know if you have a lot of family. I have a great family. I do. But even in great families, there's dynamics. You know what I'm saying? And the dynamics show up around holidays especially because there's so much stress. And so training in the gap has helped me in the midst of holiday, habitual, familial stuff, where it might be, I don't know, but for me it might be that all of a sudden I'm back at an earlier age being treated in a different way than I'm accustomed to. The gap has helped me go, well, that's not who I am. I'll just be who I am now, and they'll have to deal with it. Choosing. So the choice, the spiritual choice, is available. Now, what's the challenge? Because it's possibilities and challenge. What's the challenge about surfing the gap? Well, in surfing terms, there are these waves called A-frames. And they're wonderful in many ways, because what an A-frame wave does is it gives you a choice to go this way or this way. But you have a split second to decide. So not much gap. But the training for surfers is to be watching always for the longest gap and riding the most powerful waves. And so when an A-frame wave happens, they already know there's a choice that's going to be made. So they've prepared themselves by paying attention, by being present, and can easily and readily decide right or left, depending on the other waves that are happening around them. We're like that too. So the challenge, of course, is to train in slowing down enough and creating enough space so that who you want to be and who you actually are can arise without being inhibited by habits and noise. And the possibility is that once that training has taken hold, then when life presents you with a challenge, you know it's an A-frame wave. And you know that the challenge can take you this way or that way, and you readily can make choices. That's how it's been for me anyway. So the last thing I wanted to talk about was seeing clearly is another one of the goals of the spiritual path. Seeing our own life and the life of spirit, or however you frame it, seeing it clearly. And I know for myself that there are times when, to be able to see clearly, I tell myself I don't have time for that. I don't know if you've done that. I don't have time for that right now. And yet what I've noticed is that if I make time for that anyway, it's a lot easier in the long haul to do it front-ended instead of saying, no, I can't do it right now. I'm waiting until another moment of clarity can arise. So for me, what I've learned is, all right, here's an opportunity. I don't have time to figure it out. Oh, no, don't do that. That's what I've learned. It's like, oh, no. If an opportunity arises, just decide. And that's hard, have you noticed? Because you don't know where you're going. You just know it's calling you to do something, so you decide. Sort of like the band's songs, it's like, okay, just go. Everything you need to know is available to you, right? The song says. But to actually feel that inside and not just sing it is part of the training as well. It's allowing trust to come forward. And the trust is in self that you've gained from working the gap. So let's take a pause right here. Settle the mind. Allowing ourselves to become present. And in your next inhale, notice that you're taking an inhale. And the next out breath, notice that your breath is moving out from you. Don't have to control it, just noticing. And then notice that as we become very focused in the here and now with the breath, notice the energy in the room. Notice how you feel. Breathing into that. A collective shared energy. I experience it as light and warm and peaceful. And as we experience this together, this prayer is for you and for me. There is within me and within all things a vast, powerful, dynamic energy of love. Its only goal is to be expressed through all of its creations, in and through every single thing, including me. This vast, dynamic love expressing in me now, I now accept and choose to allow it to move me into a place of gap so that I have the time and the energy and the focused attention in many parts of my day to come home to that love, to come home to that dynamic flow, to rest in it, open to it, and receive from it the next right thing. As I become aware of this choice, I choose it more and more often in my life from this day forward, so that in any and every situation, I'm aware that I am held in love, that the dynamic power of love is flowing in me, through me, and as I allow it, out from me. And I know that this transforms relationships in my life. It transforms me and allows my life to open to an even deeper and richer expression. And I am so grateful for that I'm committed to allowing this prayer to operate through me, finding more and more space in the daily so that who and what I truly am can arise. So grateful. And so it is. Thank you. Thank you. We have Janet and Heather as our ushers this morning, and the band's coming up, and we're going to do some more singing. And I wanted to thank you in advance for any donations that you give the center. I know many of you give through the mail and through calling and giving us money, so thank you to all of you who do that. And if there are those of you that would like to give today, thank you very much. What does the money do? It lets this happen. Thank you.
1, 2, 3, 4. Everything in this world goes around, flowing with abundance, it knows no bounds. Giving and receiving, we circulate the love with gratitude and knowing there's always enough. We give thanks. We give thanks. We give thanks. We give thanks. We give thanks for this offering. We give thanks. We give thanks. We give thanks. We give thanks. We give thanks for everything. Everything in this world goes around, flowing with abundance, it knows no bounds. Giving and receiving, we circulate the love with gratitude and knowing there's always enough. We give thanks. We give thanks. We give thanks. We give thanks. We give thanks for this offering. We give thanks. We give thanks. We give thanks. We give thanks. We give thanks for everything. Everything in this world goes around, flowing with abundance, it knows no bounds. Giving and receiving, we circulate the love with gratitude and knowing there's always enough. We give thanks. We give thanks. Give thanks. We give thanks for this offering. We give thanks. We give thanks. We give thanks. We give thanks. We give thanks for everything. We give thanks for everything. We give thanks for everything.
So here we go. A couple of announcements. Am I back? Yes. So every year we've been participating in Interfaith Coalition's Coat Drive, and we have 2 weeks. And we're inviting you to go through your closets, and if you have warm winter clothing, particularly jackets, mittens, scarves, hats, they would love to receive them. They service a lot of families, and so they're also especially looking for children's clothing that's warm for the kiddos. And so if you have anything, we have a barrel, and it'll be back here on Sundays, and we'll receive things during the week in the office. And we'd love to have your gently used things so that we can take them and distribute them to our neighbors so they can be warm too. Okay, we're having a harvest dinner. We haven't had one since before COVID. We're calling it the Pumpkin Ball, and it is a costume affair if you want. You know us. It's like, well, if you don't, it's okay. But you won't be as cool. And so the way this works is, this is really not a fundraiser particularly. It's really a way to get to know people and be social. And we need some hosts and hostesses who are willing to bring their plates and their silverware and their cups and their glasses, decorate the middle of the table, and then play host to whoever is assigned to their table. And so we're looking now for those hosts and hostesses. We have 54 tickets. That's all we got. And so we would love if you are interested in maybe creating a table and a theme with that table, if you would sign up at the Ask Me Us today. That'll help us know how many people we actually can accommodate. Because if we don't have enough for all the tables, we won't sell as many tickets. This event, we'll start selling tickets very soon, and it's not only a chance to have a lovely dinner that cooks from here prepare, but it's also a chance to dance, and to dance without needing partners or anything, just get on the floor and dance. So we hope that you'll consider coming. It's October 26th, which is a Saturday, and so there it is, the Pumpkin Ball coming up. And my husband Joe and I are doing a workshop. We did this a number of years ago called the Tao of Relationships. And because I'm retiring, we wanted to do it at least one more time. It's different because he and I are in the flow of things. And so we used our 6-hour drive to Eugene to kind of continue planning what we're going to be doing. It really is for committed couples. So, a lot of people say to me, well, can I just bring a friend? Not quite the material for that. It's actually for people that are in committed relationships that are wanting some tools and some spiritual understanding about their relationship and how to hold it. So it's available to 12 people, and the sign-up is happening starting today. And then today, speaking of today, out on our wedding patio, we are celebrating the autumn equinox today at 4:30 p.m. because it gets dark very early now. The light and the dark are equal, and the ritual team is going to be working with what do we need to let go of so that we can be in balance. And so you're invited to come. Super simple, usually about an hour, and free, and everyone's welcome. Children are welcome. Everybody's welcome to come and be a part of it. You'll see us on the wedding patio, 4:30. Be there. And then today, also at 11:45, we're inviting any of you who would like to know what it means to be a member of CSL Bellingham to come to an information meeting. It's not a commitment unless you make that commitment, but it is a requirement for anyone who wants to be a member to go through the information session and ask questions and hear how we're structured, what we're doing. You'll also hear a little bit about the plan for what's happening once I retire, so that you know, because you'll be a member from here forward. And we want you to know from here forward, what's the plan? So, and the rest of us who are already members and have been coming for a while, the first Sunday in October, you'll hear a lot about that as well. So you don't have to come to the new member meeting just to find out what we're doing. And then we start rehearsal for the Christmas Eve choir October 7th. If you'd like to join, there's a sign-up sheet at the Ask Me desk in the classroom. And we'd love to have you come and sing with us. You don't have to read music. The songs are easy enough that you'll pick it right up, I'm sure. And every month we have a wonderful guest speaker. Last month it was Kathy Angel, this last month. And in October we're inviting Reverend Abigail Sheriff from CSL Seattle, who's coming to talk to us. You sign up for this either online is how you sign up for it. It's $30 or whatever you can pay. It's a beautiful breakfast of, pastries, gluten-free and regular. And we'd love you to come and hear Reverend Abigail. She's dynamic, she's fun, and she has a lot to share.
You can also sign up at the Ask Me desk.
She's going to be at the Ask Me desk? Oh, you can sign up at the Ask Me desk. Okay, good. All right, well, that's enough from me, I think. And so why don't we, if we're able, stand up and we'll sing our way into this day.
I can feel the power of love inside me. Feel the power of love. I can see the evidence around me. We are the power of love. And my eyes are open to the truth I now embrace. And my heart is open by spirit and by grace. I can feel the power of love inside me. Feel the power of love. I can see the evidence around me. We are the power of love. And my eyes are open to the truth I now embrace. And my heart is open by spirit and by grace. We are the power of love. We are the power of love. We are the power of love. All right, have a great week, everybody.